Praise in public, criticize in private. I feel like I've heard this a lot of different times, and I feel like I'm surprised that that's not just common knowledge or common practice. What is the purpose of criticizing people in public? Why would you do public shaming as a method of keeping people in check? Have we considered the implications on relationships or how people are feeling about themselves when we do such things? I feel like I am not the type of person who just seeks to criticize people in a general sense, because I don't actually know what you need to know, and I can usually deal with my frustration solo, and that's something that I'm choosing to work on more or less. And at the same time, I find it fascinating how many people expect you to tear them down at the first opportunity that you get. I'm Latia, and I like to talk. This is my YouTube channel. I talk about a variety of things. And recently, I went to an event with my manager, and there was a moment where one of his friends was like, "Hey, what is it like to work with this guy?" And my manager was like, "Oh my gosh, we just had a feedback session. Hopefully I don't hear anything I'm not surprised by, blah, blah, blah." And I was very tactful about it, very diplomatic. I'm not going to air your dirty laundry to your friends. I don't know these people. I don't trust them. I don't want to say anything that's going to be like, "Wow, you're a terrible boss or a horrible person to work with." Why would I take that as an opportunity to cut you down or be rude? Besides the fact that we'd had a feedback session where I could express my truth to you, this is not the time nor the place to be like, "Oh my gosh, like, let me tell you something." And I guess I find it fascinating because I personally don't operate in that way. I don't like to take opportunities to just cut people down and be rude. I've done it in the past, like a long time ago in high school, whenever I was liking this guy and we hung out and we did stuff, and all of a sudden he got a girlfriend, and then I was like, weird. But I was young and immature, and I've grown up a lot since then. And in that case, I had something to potentially gain, lose, ruin. I don't know. Childish mindset. But when it comes to like work, it's like, I'm going to have to see you tomorrow. Do you really think I'm going to want to talk smack about you to your friends and deal with the consequences of that? No, thank you. I have no desire to be like, "Wow, let me spill the tea and tell you how like miserable I am working with this person." And I guess I just wonder, do people really do that? Do people take opportunities to cut people down, whether they like them, dislike them? I guess it shouldn't be as surprising to me, because it's like, okay, if you feel that gossiping about someone's worst moment makes you look like a better person, then why wouldn't you take the opportunity to talk smack about the people that you care about? Because at the end of the day, as a kid, I realized what happens is the more I care about you, the meaner I am to you. And it's not because I'm like, I don't care about you, I'm going to be rude. It's just because when you know someone, you're familiar. I know your buttons and your triggers, and I know what you like and you don't like, and I know like how to withhold love or be rude to you, like not too much, but like just enough. And even if I just kind of like explode, lose my temper, and go crazy at you, we usually have a bond that's strong enough that it's like, I can apologize for being rude and I can work on it. And even if I don't work on it, because like sometimes family, it's just going to be triggering. But in those relationships, it's like we know we can show out and be ridiculous, and like, you're going to take me back. At least in my family, that's what we do. We get mad at each other. It's like, never going to speak to you again. 5 minutes later, "So you want to play a game?" "Yeah, that sounds like fun." And we're fine. So when it comes to it, I feel like the quality of realness that you get increases the closer that you get to someone. So if we're like best friends and we know we've been through some stuff, I'm more honest with you than I am with someone that I just met. And it's not that I'm like faking myself, where it's just like, I'm just not going to be Latia. It's just that it's like, I'm not necessarily going to tell you all the stuff that you're doing that bothers me. But it also depends on the situation. Because I met someone who was like, I like to annoy coworkers. I find their pet peeves and I just poke at them intentionally. It would be fun to work with you. And I was like, no, it wouldn't. I would hate you and I would never deal with you. And no. But at the same time, that admitting that this person knows that they can be annoying and push people's buttons, I was just like, so, no, that doesn't work for me, and you're annoying. But instead of being like, oh, you're annoying me, it was just like for me, I was just like, mind games. It's like, oh, so you like to be annoying, then maybe you're annoying me on purpose. Maybe you're just trying to push my buttons. Maybe that's why it's so annoying dealing with you right now. Oh, if that's the case, I'm not losing. I'm not going to tell you that you're annoying me. Nope. I'm just going to deal with you being annoying and see how far we can ride this out. And like, I did that for a bit. And then like, I don't know if it was when we were playing pool, we were doing something. And I was just like, you're really annoying, man. Like, I can't take this. And he was just like, oh, my bad. I'll stop. And I was like, oh, thank God. Yes. But I don't always tell people very straightforwardly when they're annoying. Not very many people are that level of annoying to me either, where it's like, you're kind of annoying, what you're saying is kind of silly, but whatever, I don't care. But it's like, I don't like to tell people things just to like tear them down. It's like, I would rather be constructive and like build something. And I'm not used to people wanting to build relationships, so it's always interesting. But this person was like, oh, can I hold your hand? And I was like, why are you so excited to hold my hand? It's cool, but it's like weird. Not many people care about that. And he's just like, I'm just trying something different. And I was like, okay. So I think one time we held hands, and then I was like, just kidding. I don't like holding hands with people I don't really know or like that. So let's not. And he was like, okay. And then like there was a day where I was like, I kind of want to hold your hand. And he was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's hold hands. And then he was like so excited. It was very interesting. But that was like a interesting progression to a relationship. It like, we still hang out, and it's just like a different experience to have someone who's like, holding your hand is the most amazing thing that I can do with myself. And it's like, oh, okay. But when it comes to it, what benefit do we get when we tear people down? When we, especially around their friends, I'm just like, why do you think I would tell your friend that like you suck? I wouldn't do that. I mean, I guess maybe because people think I'm like abrasive or crusty or come off really mean or I'm not the nicest person. So part of me is like, okay, based on traits, yes, I am more likely than others to bust you out in public. It seems that way. And I have principles. I have standards. I don't feel it's necessary to do such a thing because I know you more than I know your friends. So I'm not going to like play into their games where they're like, oh, he's a terrible boss. He's like this. Like, I'm not going to do that to you. I know you better, and I'm going to have to deal with you on a continuing basis. I don't want to say anything where you're going to be like, really, Latia? Really? That's how you do? You act like this in public? And so maybe it's coming from like a people-pleasing place where my parents were just like, a lot of the time growing up, it's like, don't embarrass us. And like, I don't think they would use those words, but there's still that feeling of like, I ain't trying to embarrass my parents right now. And so growing up, and I feel like it's interesting because my mom and I talked about this recently. Growing up, my mom would act like I was just devil child. She just could not stand me. I was talking back and super sassy and like what I am now on video. Oh yeah, a lot of this I've always had. And with my mom, oh, don't let her say something where I just don't get it. Because I'm like, Mom, that doesn't make sense. Why do you need me to clean my bedroom when if I leave the door closed, I can keep it as I want? You can imagine it's clean. Everybody's happy. Win-win. I think that's a great solution. And she just get mad at me all the time. And so growing up, it felt like I was just the worst kid. My mom would get mad at me. My dad would get mad at me. Everyone would get mad at me. And then recently her and I were talking and she was like, nah, y'all were not bad kids. You know, like you were challenging, but you weren't bad. Like weren't doing drugs, weren't like, I don't know, getting arrested, nothing crazy. Like we were just energetic. And we would keep it at home, or at least I would intentionally. I'm like, if I'm gonna mess up, it's gonna be in my mom's house where she can correct me and we can deal with whatever, versus out in public where it's like anyone who babysat us would tell our parents, both of them, that we were good kids and they would watch us again. Because I don't have to show out in public. For what? I don't get clout. Like there's no respect to be gained by acting wild in public. And mom would have beat us. Like, we would have just been in trouble for it. Dad would have pinched me privately, and then mom would have, like, whooped us, and I was the first and only kid that she smacked. So, yeah, I was, like, checked enough where it's like, I ain't gonna do nothing crazy, but we weren't bad. So, please, share this with anyone you think would find it interesting. Comment. Have you ever publicly shamed someone, or been in a space where people do public shamings? Because, like, I don't understand the mentality around it. Because I'm like, you can shame me publicly, but that's just going to make me keep doing what you're shaming me for. Because, like, I don't like that. Like, don't you dare. That's some nonsense. And subscribe if you find it interesting. Like, dislike. If you dislike, I'd love to hear why. I just find when people dislike fascinating. And really like to learn, you know? Like, maybe it would help me do better. Or maybe it wouldn't. Because a lot of people just come with nonsense. And that's cool, too. Have a great day, and see you next time.